Well, good morning. And we are winding down to the end of the year. It's always exciting for me as Vibe Talk is entering into year 3. So happy anniversary, Vibe Talk. That is something deserving of celebration. We are so excited to have Vibe Talk. Did I get you? Let's try that one more time. There you are. We are just tuning in. There you are. Good morning. We're going to keep trying. We've got technical issues, but we're going to keep trying. That's the way we do it around here. You want to try that again, please, and thank you. Yeah, there you are. Okay, let's try. We are live this morning, and we hope that you all are joining us. And I think they're set. There you are. Good morning, Trish.
Good morning.
Yeah. We're so happy to be together once again. For me, I'm just getting over a terrible flu. And we were not here just over a week ago. And I did hear from some of you. Thank you for that. Your concerns and your getting well wishes. Today is the first day of our celebration of Vibe Talk. Happy anniversary, Vibe Talk. We have celebrated 2 years. 2 years. What was a project. A project that would help so many of you. We're going to be able to hear how Vibe Talk has helped. And so we're going to let you guys tell us how you've been inspired. I'm going to start with me today. As Monday Motivation. Monday Motivation is all about motivating yourself, getting you into an action mode, doing something. And when I thought about Vibe Talk, I really thought about what would be helpful to so many people. Because there are still so many people that feel like they have not been heard and actually just want to be heard. And so I knew that would require listening. Sometimes we do podcasts for various reasons. My reason was beyond just doing more than just talk. But having an interchange of thought. Having an interchange of how do we get to the best of us without wondering who could fix you, who could fix me. The more important questions are, how can I help? myself. Marceline, good morning and welcome. Tell us where you're from, please, and thank you. And we are celebrating 2 years of Vibe Talk. We've been on the air for 2 years. Florida. Thank you, Florida. If this is your first time being in Vibe Talk, we say welcome. We hope that it will be many more years for you. And we're so happy. Thank you so much, Marceline from Florida. And you're going to learn what Vibe Talk is all about. All this week we are celebrating. We want you to help us say happy anniversary. Trish, what do you want to say about Vibe Talk?
It's a lot. I like to say that Vibe Talk has helped me mostly to put my thoughts into action. Instead of thinking about it, I can do it. And Vibe Talk has helped me see that I can, to help me believe in myself more. And that's it's a blessing. It's a blessing to me for someone that hasn't felt that they're capable of having that power before.
Thank you. By the way, Trish is our amazing host. Thank you, Trish, for such an amazing year. Thank you. Vibe Talk is by no means anything magical. All of your power is within yourself. And that's what you come to figure out. Well, will we leave Vibe Talk in a box? No. Right now, as we speak, we are making moves to be able to stretch Vibe Talk. As you hear every morning when you're here, you're able to have Vibe Talk come right into your living room. Whether you be on the northern parts of the earth to the western parts. That to me is an amazing fact. Trish, what kind of states have we had in here, if you can think of? Because we've had a lot of states in here.
We had Michigan, Massachusetts, Tennessee, Texas, Philadelphia, Florida. We had a lot of states in here. I think we had all of them.
Have we had any type of Middle Eastern? Have we had islands, continents? What do you think?
Yes, we have.
Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining Vibe Talk. We're saying happy anniversary to Vibe Talk. Where are you listening in from, please, and thank you, and we're going to take your call. Please tell us where you're from, please, and thank you.
Myself.
I'm sorry?
I'm from Ohio, and I'm thankful for my weed.
Okay. This is Vibe Talk's 2-year anniversary. Would you welcome us?
Happy anniversary, baby.
Thank you. Thank you. And where did you say you were from, please, and thank you?
Ohio.
Ohio. Well, we thank you. We want to congratulate anybody who has listened to Vibe Talk. Is this your first time listening to Vibe Talk?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Vibe Talk is all about feelings, emotions, and your experience with your feelings, your emotions, and your story. We are in year 2.
Yeah.
So we are celebrating all month long. We thank you for your call. And is there anything that you want to say?
I just want to say happy anniversary, and I'm going to get high. Bye-bye, baby. Much love.
And there you have it from Ohio. We are taking your calls, and Vibe Talk is a tool to help you be able to express your feelings. We have no scripts, so when people call, we listen, and we're live. We have, throughout the months, been trying to give access to more people by going and doing our podcast on major social media outlets for where you listen to your podcast. We are now on Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're also on wherever you listen to your podcasts, basically. And we do record them, so I can think of so many things where things have been heart-stopping in a good way. When you tell your stories are not just told for one time, but stick with us. Trish, have you experienced anything like that, where someone has actually called in to Vibe Talk and you thought about their story, or they had impact on you?
Yes, I have.
Mm-hmm. Any particular ones that you have that have come to mind?
The one that I can think of now is one of our callers had a car accident,
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking about how that changed their life with their drinking problem. So that impacted me.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's what we're going to be talking about. Calls. We're going to look back into some calls. Going to try to get playbacks for you guys. I think the one for me was when the guy called in. We had a caller that actually was setting out to be sort of negative, but it turned out positive. Unbeknownst to us, he apologized because of what he was going to set out to do. Do you remember that call?
Yes, I do.
I mean, it's not every day. What it showed me was the importance to apologize. You know, we think apology, when you need to apologize to someone or someone needs to apologize, take it as a lesson that we can all learn and grow from, because it really stuck with me to know that. There's been so many more calls like that. And that's why we allow you guys to call. Using your voice is not always easy. And that's why this has been set up, Vibe Talk, for people who have felt as if no one is hearing, or felt as if they've lost their voice. Saying something is important. It's just as important as you saying your very first words. Maybe you have no recollection of your first words, but your parents do. And for us who are parents, when we've heard our children's first words, that's exciting. We get really excited when the first time that you say mom or dad. or no, or stop, or yes, or no. Good morning, heartless. Good morning, and welcome in. And so Vibe Talk is like that moment when you use your voice. You hear your voice for the first time, and we respectfully listen. Because Vibe Talk teaches me that you don't always have to have answers. That many of the answers that you all look for are lying right inside of yourself. We just don't want them to become dormant, like it is a flu or a plague, because flu sometimes lay dormant within us and we're not realizing it. So we don't want your voice. The most powerful thing that you could ever use are words. Words impact us for the good, words impact us for challenge, and words can impact us for the worst times in our lives. It's what we do with those words that are spoken or those words that are heard. And so Vibe Talk is a way of you being able to express your thoughts. Now, we are not in control of your thoughts. And we know that many people call and they use their voice however they see fit. So what we do when we get calls or things that people seem, maybe they haven't used their voice, and so maybe they're using it in a way that may not suit us. We're always going to let you know that Vibe Talk is all about expressing your feelings. And do we have opinions, Trish, in Vibe Talk? What do you think? Do we have an opinion or a judgment?
No.
Yeah. Because that's coming from you. And so we really try to refrain from judging. The best thing about Vibe Talk, it's always live. You can go back. You can go back and listen. We even go back to see how we sound or if we've said anything incorrect. Because a lot of times we don't listen to ourselves. And today is that question. How many of us really listen to ourselves when we talk? We say, well, isn't Vibe Talk all about talking? Well, it is. It's about interchange of talking because we can learn from each other. And I'm going to tell you right here and right now, I have learned from each and every one of you. There is not a time when Vibe Talk has not been on that I have not learned something. We learn from each other. My co-host Trish, I learned from her. I learned from all of you callers. Maybe you call one time. Good morning, Nathan. Good morning. And Nathan, where are you listening in from? We are saying happy anniversary to Vibe Talk. We have been running 2 years. USA, thank you so much. Calls are open, ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate year 2 of Vibe Talk. They want to know how we're doing, Trish. How are you, Trish? Thank you.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am well, and we want to ask you. Nathan says he's good. Anything, Nathan, that you want to say while you're online? Vibe Talk is all about you being able to express your feelings. We always say to you guys when you are talking with us, because sometimes, you might be looking for certain opinions. We don't have opinions. Why? Because what you say is what's in your heart and mind. We don't have opinions. But I'm going to tell you that we do meet on a weekly basis, Trish and myself, to talk about how to improve Vibe Talk. And we think this is a good way to keep the calls on here. We think this is a really good way to keep the calls coming. We're looking forward to celebrating many more anniversaries. You know, sometimes when you start a project, how many of you have ever started a project but never completed one? I have. Started all kind of projects, never have completed them. I am what you call a procrastinator. This wasn't so with this Vibe Talk. My idea for Vibe Talk was to keep it going. Nathan says that happens to me a few times trying to finish one project on to the next one. Yeah, we wanted Vibe Talk to be a staple, and many of you are joining in the mornings. If you're trying to duplicate Vibe Talk, I always say this, take it how you will. Vibe Talk is not anything that you could ever duplicate. Why is that? Because you are doing all the work. There's nothing that I could say, there's nothing that I could do. I'm going to tell you, there's never any script here. Trish, do you have any scripts where you are?
No, ma'am.
Yeah. And so we let you come in being the you that you are. Many of you are realizing, wow, nobody's ever listened to me before. And now I find that people are listening to me. I got a letter the other day, and I'm going to pull it up for tomorrow. I think I'm going to save it for tomorrow. Of one such person who has been in Vibe Talk. And I'm going to read that letter because it was one that I got when I was sick, and you just never know how you affect people. When we're not here, ladies and gentlemen, it's for good reason. So don't panic. We try to make sure that you guys have something to listen to. Feel free to listen to the podcast. We haven't had a specific count for the videos, but Trish and I, we will get together and let you know during our celebration before the new year comes how many videos they really are. Where can they find our videos, Trish, if they're really wanting to find a video to listen to or a podcast of ours? Excuse me.
You can find it on Facebook, Vibe Talk, and to search up a video, you can hashtag Vibe Talk videos or Vibe Talk video in the Google, and it'll pop right up.
Thank you for that, Trish. Because a lot of people don't know that. And we want you guys to have access to how you can find us. You know, I had one time somebody wanted to find us, and they asked me this question on our page on Facebook. How do we find you? I said, well, you're on the page right here. So you will be surprised at how people will find us. Trisha's worked so hard on our Vibe Talk on Facebook. You can find us there too. You can find us there. And our reels. We understand that a lot of you are liking the reels. Trish, are you finding that on your end? Because Trish does her own sets of videos in connection. Some of them are in connection with Vibe Talk. What are you finding out about the Vibe Talk reels that are with songs?
I think they're connecting people. Because music has that effect on people with the question. And I think it paints the picture for people to really understand the topic.
Yeah, I'm finding that so too with Celine Dion's song, and we don't own the rights to that song, Facebook, but our video reel, the one about if you need something, the song Needing You, that one is by far, I was in bed the other day, and up popped someone, and we'll talk about that too, because we want to say thank you for all those that it is connecting. Trish, I think you've said a mouthful about the videos and the music being able to connect. And so we found that has really been so amazing to put the message out there. We've had special days. Can you think of any of the special days we've had, Trish? Special days. Anything that we have dedicated to the week. I'm thinking of two in particular. I can think of one. Go ahead, Trish.
I can think of one right now.
Go ahead.
Our Beautiful Things Week. I think that's my favorite.
You like that one?
My recent favorite.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. You guys are going to be able to join us. You're going to be able to come in with your own comments. If you have suggestions, we'll take those suggestions too, because you are part of Vibe Talk. We would be remiss if we did not include you in our gratitude. Remember that gratitude is not just one day and we go away and we forget about it. We practice in this room every day. What are you thankful for? So for all those who celebrated it for one day, I am sure you've had a lot of things to be thankful for, because you've been doing it for 365 days and counting. And so when we say thank you from the bottom of our hearts, we really mean it. Because you see, Trish and I can do the podcast. We could do Vibe Talk. But how much better is it to do Vibe Talk with real people? I found that doing it with real people, letting you guys be able to express your thoughts, wow, it goes a long way. You are important to us. And that's why I want you to be important to yourselves. A lot of times you will hear Trish and I say, when someone calls, be gracious enough, be thankful enough to listen. You don't always have to give advice, because see, that's not what I do as a trained professional life coach. You don't always have to give advice. How much better is it for you to do your own work and come up with creativity? So many of you have come up with so much creativity. I just spoke with one of our listeners, Josh. Josh participated in the Beautiful Things Week, which you just reminded me about that. And my apologies to Josh. I had his information. He resent it. Josh, thank you so much for your patience. And so he got a Vibe Talk shirt, which is now on merchandise. We will be opening up the merchandise for you guys to purchase. And that's to all of our listeners. We will have certain contests, certain things, and we will let you know how you can get a free t-shirt. So we're coming up with all kind of ideas. Trish came in as a Vibe Talk listener, and something I want to again mention how thankful I am. All of her artwork, Trisha's done every last one of the artwork. A lot of times I will say, this is an assignment. Well, she really does those assignments. Thank you so much, Trish. We're going to get some background from Trish. Trish, how about those, how have those art assignments helped you? Or have they?
Yes, they have helped me, and they help me say things that I feel like I can't put into words.
Mm-hmm.
With painting and drawing and just like seeing how it looks
Mm-hmm.
in my mind in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And like the colors matter, the way I draw matters. Because the more I do the assignment, the more I see and visualize where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I understand myself more.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that. See, we planned to put in to Vibe Talk our art. It was going to be expressions through art. We tried it on a Saturday, and that was a flop. Right, Trish? Let's just be honest.
Yeah, it was.
So we went back, and we said, okay, we're not getting as much as participation on Saturday, but we feel, Trish and I, we will look at the table and we will say, what do we need to do? Do we need to keep it? Do we need to put it on the table for later? Do we need to stop it? Or what do we do? So her and I, we both look at it and we tell each other truthfully how we feel. How does it look to you guys? And we were not getting the response. So what did we do with it, Trish? The arts through expression.
We moved it to Wednesday Wellness.
Yeah. How did that work out?
It worked out great.
Yeah. So we turned our flop into a flip. And we're so glad we didn't scrap that. Because that's how Josh got the shirt. Because that was part of the project about the fall leaves. That was my favorite thing too. The fall project. For the fall. Because fall is always a month that everything changes. But we really took a look at the fall and asked you the questions, what has changed in your life, or what are you changing? Because fall is not always about for the worst. Sometimes we change for the best. And the season of fall opened up for us ways that we could change, ways that we could do things. How about you, Trish, during the month of the fall that we did?
I like that because usually when fall hits, I stay inside because I don't like the chilly weather. But the collage assignment that we had, it made me go outside and take amazing pictures. And I like our fall month because the leaf assignment that we did, and on my Trish's Treasure, I got to like picture and do some of my own thing on our fall month. So that's why I liked it, because I thought outside the box.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, thank you for that. Then we got into our feelings. You know, you've always heard us say we're all into our feelings, and we introduced you this year to the feelings book. My, how time has flown. That book. You know, I'm a real stickler on what I'm going to introduce, and I look at the broad range of things. How is it going to be helpful? Well, that book was a personal favorite of mine because that book helped me in so many ways when I was introduced to that book. We're not done, but we are getting through. I think we're on chapter 14? If I'm correct, Trish?
I think so.
Yeah. I'll tell you how the book has helped me. You know, you think that things don't affect you, but when we listen to our reader, Mrs. Rawlings and Carol Truman, who wrote the book, because the book has been revised, it's updated, and of course with all the changing times, I'm so glad they thought about that. Who knew it was on audio? We found that out, and Trish and I ran with that. And Trish, because I don't want to talk for you, what was your idea about the book? Because I was just going to have it done as a reading assignment, and you said what about that book? Do you remember?
I think I do. I said, I know I'm not going to read it by myself.
Yeah.
And I'd feel better reading it with someone.
Yeah. And so we turned it into an assignment that everybody could get involved with. Boy, boy, boy. If you have not had a chance to look into that book, it's on audio. You can find it. Trisha want to put up the audio for them. See, because there's no way that when you guys come to Vibe Talk, you can't catch up, you can't know what we're talking about. Nothing is secret here. You know, we want you to be a part of Vibe Talk. We want you to know how to get the information, and that way you can start your own reading. Boy, that book, I mean, just to introduce that book and the feelings that people, you know, we have people that come in and they listen. That is the time, and it's so important to say it now. When we do have the audio reading, Trisha's going to put up the information, and you guys still can talk. You know, sometimes I'm greeting people, but we record it for your listening. We tell you where the information is in case you miss it, but we don't want you to miss it. So that's what we've been doing all year. The book Feelings, Trish, if you can kind of put that up for everybody, because there's going to be people who come here. By the way, over the holiday, I had a chance to look at some demographics, and we saw that many of you were looking at the videos. And so it's so important. We're live on Facebook, so you'll get it here and you'll get it there. You'll hear it in your podcast. That book, Feelings Buried Alive Never Dies, that book is on YouTube. Okay? You can start anywhere. You can play catch up. If you miss it, you're not going to pass or fail. We just want you to be a part. We want to hear how you feel about it, because many of you are coming into it and you like it, and we love you for it. So we're trying to make Vibe Talk better. I've seen a lot of growth in our mission to bring Vibe Talk to the people. How about you, Trish?
I've seen a lot as well.
Mm-hmm. And so every week her and I, we meet together and we talk about how can we bring wellness, more wellness to Vibe Talk. So we get inspired. You come in every morning, you're virtual. That's what I love about virtual. And speaking of virtual, I had an idea at our last meeting and I've been working on that to actually work on the year 2023. God willing that we are living and well, I would like to have the blessing of being able to open up a center. Just a small center where we're going to have small groups. And we want those groups to be men and women. Because we're finding that a small percentage of you are men that are listening into it, into our podcast, that now we can see it demographically on Spotify and iHeartRadio. We see the demographics and in the analytics of who's tuning in. And a small percentage of you are men, and we're so grateful because it's not just for women. The larger percentage are women, but we want the men too because men stress, men have things. We had someone in the year 2021 that came and said, "Hey, I heard your podcast on fatherhood. And that made me think about fighting for my children. Thank you for that." So we hear you men out there. We've had men that have come into the audience, men who have opinions too. It's just not about us women. We have things to say, but men have things to say too. And sometimes it's harder for us to be able to express that because we're so used to living in a world where it's not okay for a man to cry, or it's not okay, says so-and-so. But I say it is okay for you to feel emotion, every bit of it. What do you think, Trish?
I think that Vibe Talk, we try to reach everyone. We don't discriminate. So the men, we know that you're human and you have emotion. Jesus wept and he was a man. So you have every right to feel how you feel and express your emotion. So just think about that.
Yeah. And we want you to know that this is an okay place. Whatever you're facing, we don't want to take Vibe Talk and just center it around certain people. We want to reach everyone. That's the goal in Vibe Talk. We're celebrating you, man, woman, and child. Families, as family is on the rise of breakdown, moral breakdown in families. In fact, I was talking to someone yesterday about families, and I was thinking about how the world is changing, where you saw families get together during these times of the year is not so much. There are certain families, but families are torn apart by this, that, and the other. But we want Vibe Talk to bring families together. And that's why I thought, having a place where people could actually come We're going to have groups. The year 2023 for me is going to be a beautiful year. It's not one that's going to be made a resolution, but a commitment to be able to open a physical door. We like virtual, and we're going to keep it virtual because it reaches so many states and cities, whereas we can't be there with you guys physically because of our areas, but we're here with you guys virtually. But we want to make it more tangible for so many people, starting in my city where I live. And so that's a goal. I have been asked to speak at certain seminars, and my schedule has just been so full. So I'll be doing a lot of that in the year 2023. I want to go in and I actually want to really talk to parents. I want to talk to families to kind of get them, not to be where they were before, but kind of find their voices in family, because I'm finding that in the book Feelings, so many things happen in the family and nobody ever talks about them, but kind of get families to regroup and to find out, we had an assignment. Do you remember this one, Trish, where I had everybody pull out their phones and kind of apologize to someone that maybe they needed to apologize? There was not one person in the room that could say they didn't need to apologize to anyone, because didn't you find there's always a need to apologize or a need for someone to apologize? Did you find that to be true, Trish?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So we'll do assignments like that because a lot of family members aren't talking to each other. And we understand it isn't that you don't love that person, but how much time do you really have to spend with that person? I have to constantly remind my children of this. Stop taking me for granted, because life is not promised. And so sometime I will give them a break so that they experience not being able to access mom so quickly, because they're not thinking clearly. They think, oh, that's mom, she'll just be around. Stop taking that for granted, because many mothers and fathers have left here without hearing the words, I'm sorry. I had the opportunity, I was watching a trial, and that trial has now concluded, but the man said in the trial that he could recall the days where he was really mean to his mother. And oh, how he wished that his mom was there, because by her having been killed, he understood the connection. The time is oh so short. So we're about bringing together families. Maybe you're upset. A lot of times I might get upset. But Vibe Talk has made me think about my parent, my living parent, and being able to say to her more, I love you, without saying, well, she already knows, or he already knows. So we kind of doing it that way. If you've all participating in that has been hard-hitting for you, but no doubt you found out what? You needed to do it more often, or you didn't do it soon enough. May it never be too late for you. We talked about friends too. Friends and neighbors, the elderly. We had one experience, that was last year, where we actually gave blankets to strangers. People that were really in need, and the participation in that was a beautiful response. We try different things, not just saying things, but actually being committed to do it. See, because you all have committed yourselves to listening into Vibe Talk. But when you listen, we're asking you the question, what have you learned? Trisha and I are all week going to be talking about the things that have affected us. We're going to go back into the vault and let you hear some of the calls that have, we've laughed at things that have made us laugh, because we don't just cry in this room. We don't just say, wow, that really happened. We laugh. And you'll get to hear and experience that joy with us that we have experienced in the last 2 years. We get to talk about our goof ups. A lot of times we're on air and you catch things right in the moment. I want to talk about one such thing. Trish had been looking for her dog. That was a moment for me. Do you remember that, Trish?
Yes, I remember.
And we were on live, and the dog came in. And she was worried about that dog. Two things I want to say about that and how it made me feel. One is because you couldn't have made that up, but it was the timing. And the other was her strength and her desire. Even though the way she felt, she still came and did Vibe Talk. Because your pets are part of your family. And maybe I don't have a pet that's part of my family, but it helped me to have empathy for those of you who do have pets and are part of your family. It helps you to see and feel the realism. That was experience uncut. Some of the things we may have to cut because we might not necessarily want that as part of the Vibe Talk. We left that uncut. The only way it's going to be cut if it's something that's so outlandish that we absolutely forbid. We haven't had to really do that, but maybe twice. But that was a real moment. And for any of you that had been on the live with us that day and hearing our podcast, there's no way that you could not have been affected by that. Vibe Talk is some real feelings. And these are your moments to celebrate. Because, things go by and we forget about them. And when 365 days have passed on, we have to jog our memory. So that's what Trish and I are going to be doing, is jogging each other's memory. Because there's no way that you could capture all of this in a time capsule. It's just a lot. Remember when our co-host said that? It's a lot. And so we're going to be breaking it down for you. We're going to celebrate. Because you are worth celebrating. We talk about celebrating yourselves. How many of you actually celebrated yourself other than your birth date or your day you were born? How many of you actually take the time to do that? A lot of us work hard. Do we take a day out to self-care and celebrating ourselves? How about our wins? How many of you have celebrated a win-win? If it's been 30 days ago, we'll take that. But at least celebrate yourself more than once a year. Celebrate something about yourself, your growths. In my family, with my children, when they made a good grade, that was celebration. Taking the time out to acknowledge that. my older son was in acting. When he got an audition, something to celebrate. Even celebrating the sadness, but celebrating it in joy. I believe last year's celebration of Vibe Talk started out with remembering, celebrations of life. A lot of people stay away from the word funeral and say they're going to have a celebration of life. That makes so much sense to me, because you really are celebrating the person's life. Even though it's a sad occasion, you're remembering them for all that they did from the time they were born and to the time that they passed away. During all that time, they did something to make you remember them. Even ones that you don't like that have passed away, you remember something about them. And so I thought about that, and this was in rendition of last year's celebration of Vibe Talk. I remember something so clearly in my mind about celebration of life. It's your life. You've lived it. But do you celebrate those moments? All throughout your lifetime have been moments. That's what Vibe Talk is all about. Your moments. Some of us have had tragedy. Do I say be morbid and celebrate the tragedies? No. What you're going to remember about the tragic parts of your life is the growth. What can you learn from that? Not why is it happening, but more so, what is happening? What am I going to take from this? Because everything in your life is a lesson. Some people say God did that. Why blame God? God is not cruel, but yet we attribute that he causes those things in our life. Instead of looking at it like, God knew I was strong enough to be able to handle this. But the question is, what did he see in me that I was able to handle that? Do you look at tragedies like that? Because some of the very people that we see every day, some of the very people that you have heard and hear every day have experienced tragedy, some of which you have no idea. Let's celebrate those people, because those are the people who get up. Those are the people who can tell us a thing or two and make us look like a Cinderella story. Oh boy. And so that's why we find that Vibe Talk is worth you coming to celebrate, because you're given a chance to celebrate yourself, your wins, celebrating that you got over, you overcame the sadness, the depression. You're still fighting, you're still standing. You haven't quit. Celebrate that. You can say, yes, that happened to me. Trish talked about it. Trish, you can jump in at any time, babe. Trish talked about the young man that had the accident. It wasn't woe is me. He learned something from that. Even though he had some rehabilitation, he can bring that story to help you overcome something similar. Even if you didn't drink, but maybe you had a car accident and you survived that. Maybe you've had some other thing happen in your life. And you say, wow, how did I make it? See, those are the aha moments. You made it. A lot of people say fake it to make it. You know what I say? Excuse me. Struggle to strength. Don't fake it till you make it. Because then you're not dealing with what's here and what's now, what's present. You say, I'm going to struggle till I find my strength. And that's where the butterfly moments come in, you say, wow, I earned my wings. That's all about celebrations of life. Many of you have butterfly wings right now. I want to give them to you while you're alive. While you're aware. I want to say thank you while you're alive. I want to say I love you while you're alive. Because I see you. But I'm asking you the more important question. Do you see yourself? Oh, your butterfly wings, they're within your reach. I want you to be alive so that I can see you put those butterfly wings on and be able to fly limitlessly, celebrating life every day. See, we don't have to wait for the particulars. We do have special moments, but life should be a celebration. Some of us have been through some very, very gut-punching things. There was a question asked of me, and I always will love this question, and I always will refer to it. Someone asked me, how do you, after all the people you deal with, it must be draining? I says, no. In fact, I find it opposite. I find it refreshing when I can find someone who has been stricken with tragedy or sadness or depression, and they say, Miss Nisi, I discovered something about me. And I wait and I listen because I don't know what they're going to say. And they say, did you know that I discovered? I actually like myself. I actually learned something. You hear us say that at the close of every day. What did you learn? What did you discover? Those are the moments to celebrate yourself. Go deep within yourself. Because I can't tell you what you discover. I could be listening to this podcast tonight and discover something totally new, opening a new window to the wall of me. And that's what I want you guys to do, to open your windows. Because you're in these closed walls, open them up so that you discover, so that you're willing to take a risk to understand about yourself. Celebrating the you that you are. Last year, I bought myself a cake to celebrate Vibe Talk's 1 year being live and in podcast. I don't know if you all got to see the picture, but it's there for last year this time. Celebrating that. How did I feel about that? It felt great. Even if it isn't a cake. The things that you've accomplished, a cupcake. This year will be a cupcake. You will get to see that. Celebrating yourself. Don't wait for that. You are valuable. Celebrating yourself, your accomplishments. Don't wait for other people to do it because it may never come. But at least you could say, you know what, I remember that time I celebrated myself. You know, in Alcohol Anonymous, they talk about these cakes. And I used to always wonder, what does that mean until someone told me? The cakes are for the steps, the celebrations. They get this cake. And that's significant enough. Do that for yourself. Do that. Because that's a reminder of the things that you feel you can look back on and say you did something with purpose. I can look back on Vibe Talk and say we did this with a purpose. Clap for yourself. Because as you are running through life or walking through life's journey, you're going to be looking for those people. I want you to start doing that for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Because for everything you celebrate, that's growth. There's no morbidity here where we think about things in morbid. We all feel, we cry when people die. We cry when tragedy. We cry when we don't know someone and something terrible happens to. So when we say celebration of life, accomplishment for everything you've done from the time you were born to the time that you have now rested in sleep. Celebrate yourselves. Celebrate the dashes in your life. Chris, do you have anything you'd like to say? Excuse me.
I saw something like last week that ties in with this part of the conversation.
Sure.
It was this person, they turned 40, and there is someone that was in their family, like, they're afraid to get older, but the 40-year-old, she was like, to celebrate me being 40, I'm going to make a list to do at least 40 things that I've never done before because I'm 40. And the person that was afraid to get older, which is very real, the person, they looked amazed. They're like, you're 40 already. It happened to be her mother. She was like, you're 40 already. Like, you're ready to be 40. She was like, yeah, it feels great. So, I just want to say that for every birthday that you have, don't think of it as getting older, I'm getting old. Think of it as I'm living another year. I've been on this earth for 40 years, and I'm going to continue to live my life to the fullest. Not that it's ending, but it's beginning.
I love that. And we know that those of you who are listening to this podcast, you will come away with so much more meaning. And that's why we take these times. We could say, yes, this is our second year. But we want to celebrate these moments of triumph, these moments of challenge. Every year. Can you imagine that? Whatever year that you are, celebrate your time within yourself. What do you learn about yourself? What do you know about yourself? You've heard me say so many times that we are not spending enough time getting to know ourselves as people, but we beg, we desire, we are passionate about people getting to know who we are. Is that fair? When we're not spending as much time on ourselves. Life is so very precious. You are precious. And so we learn to pull out of our lives the best of us, the not so great parts of us, to become what? The better part of ourselves. Oh, I know it's challenging, but celebrate those moments. Moving on, these questions that are being asked. Many of you have asked or said, you know those questions, the Vibe Talk questions? You ask them to make us think. And that's exactly what they are. Thought-provoking questions are Vibe Talk questions of the day. We've asked certain questions like, what changes are you willing to make? Can you think of another one, Trish, that we've asked?
What's on your mind?
Yeah, what's on our mind? Think about. Yeah. What inspires you? What does love mean? All these questions are not for the benefit of someone else, but they're for the benefit to help you to think. If you've never thought of these questions, you surely will after spending a day with Vibe Talk. Celebrate those moments. We have moments where we discuss like we are now, think about Thursdays. Bring mindfulness of your thoughts. How you want to respond to your thoughts. Because all people who think are not positive thinkers. All people who think are not risk takers. All people who think are people that pass in their thoughts. Or they let that thought pass. Whether it's good or bad, we ask you to ask the more serious questions. Why think about it? Not just living your life, but living your life with thoughtfulness, mindfulness. How many of us ever think to do that? Or are we still on the couch and ceasing to exist? I'm going to tell you, being as sick as I was, the first couple days, you give or take, you're feeling pretty bad. But then as you start getting well, you begin to think in your life, I should be doing something. What are those should be doing something? What can I do to make my life better? Even in a moment of welling ourselves from physical sickness, we should be thinking about our mental wellness, our spiritual wellness, our emotional wellness. What could we be doing with our lives? Trisha and I could make this Vibe Talk all about sadness and all about depression. But you're wanting more. Many of you, when we're not here, you say, where are you? I've gotten letters like that. Where are you guys? Good morning and welcome to Vibe Talk. Help us say happy anniversary to Vibe Talk. Where are you listening in from, please, and thank you. Thank you for joining us in our celebratory week and month. Illinois, thank you. Phone lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. Trish, is there anything you want to say? Because you're so much a part of Vibe Talk.
Sometimes I think the this is surreal. Because I never saw myself in this position before as a co-host.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm passionate about it. I'm very passionate about it.
Yes, you are.
Because I use what I'm capable of doing, like editing, music, things I love to do, and making in somewhat parts, making Vibe Talk come to life.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love it.
Good morning. Go ahead.
But sometimes I'm just like, is this really happening?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it is. And I'm very grateful because, believe it or not, guys, when you call in and you tell us your story, it's very impactful to me, especially if I've never been through it before.
For those who are joining us, thank you for joining us, and please tell us where you're listening in from. Go ahead, Trish.
But hearing your breakthroughs, it has impacted me the most because you've gotten through it, and it's amazing that the more you guys talk, the more you realize your strength and your ability and how far you came. And I think that's what I love the most, because when I see, it's like you guys growing before our eyes.
Mm-hmm.
When you say, oh, I get it now. Or you're like, oh, thank you. I really needed that. Those are special moments for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. And that's what we want you guys to do, is find your voice. For those of you who are just coming in, please, if you are listening to this podcast after it's live, please put where your state is. We want to say thank you to your states and your communities for tuning in. You found us. And it's so amazing. Being able to hear you guys and your breakthroughs is a beautiful thing. For if you never share your story, no one will know. You have been brave, just like a lion. You've been brave. You've been challenged, but you've been brave. As we face challenges, as we are going through something daily. Who isn't going through something daily? There's not one of you who come to Vibe Talk that isn't going through something. Remember what I said about triumphs and sadness and tragedy? We're all going through something. May that be your story that impacts, that changes so many other listeners, because from one listener, you're going to gain another listener. When I first started Vibe Talk, I didn't think of a co-host. When I first started Vibe Talk, I thought of, wow, we could really do something that puts people's voices, because you all have such incredible stories. We don't take and compare stories. We say, wow, that really happened to that person. And how can I do a better job from learning about this person? You will always hear me say, we're not doctors. We're not doctors. So we're not going to give you any medical advice, but we're here with resources. And that's why we ask you, what state are you listening in from? Because in your state is help that you don't even know. You might be talking to a friend and not really knowing what they're going through. And maybe by the resource that we're going to give you, you're going to find it helpful to yourself or to others. Resources. Vibe Talk has been helpful in that way. We stay in our lane. You young people out there are using that in such a real literal way, but we really stay in our lanes. We are not doctors. I am a certified life wellness coach, teaching you how to strategize with your own. And you're helping me because, as you know, my story is all in Vibe Talk. You learn things that you've not discovered about Miss Nisi. And you will learn more. And you will take that of what you've learned and add it to what you've already known. Because the power lies within you. Vibe Talk has reached so many people, and we're not stopping at year 2. What Trish and I do know is that year 2 looks nothing like year 1. Have you found that to be true, Trish?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. I found growth. You know, some of our earliest podcasts, you know, you're not sure of what direction to take. But you learn after you practice because you first got to build enough confidence. You got to get some boundary. You've got to get your footing on. If you've ever tried to stand up in ocean water, it could be very difficult because you've got the shore rushing in against you and you feel like you have lost your footing. And some of us have lost our footing. We've fallen in water, but we've got back up. So that's what Vibe Talk looked like in the first year. But after I realized, hey, people are catching on to this, people want to be part of an audience. Wow. Year 2 looks amazing. So if year 2 is amazing, what do you think year 3? We want a blessing from this. We don't want praise. We don't want you to say, look what they can do. We can do nothing without our Creator. We can do nothing without Him. I want you to understand that nothing can be done unless we have God's blessing on it. Please know that. Can you hear me okay over there?
Yes, I can.
So we want to thank you all for just your being. We would miss out on the opportunity if we just celebrated this, Trish and I, amongst ourselves. We want you to be able to celebrate. We are working for letters that you may want to send. We're working on P.O. boxes. I'm working on a P.O. box for you all. We want to get things out to you. We want to be able to make you a part of the Vibe Talk family. And we realize there's no pass or fails. We realize that many of you can't be here every day, but you do get the Vibe Talk because you ask for it. You will ask us, where are you guys? If you have suggestions, we're going to take your suggestions and we're going to look at them, and we want to see how it will, what place will it fit in Vibe Talk. So you're important. We want you all this week, all in December, to say happy anniversary to Vibe Talk. Why? Because we love you. Why? Because you have been a part of Vibe Talk. How are you going to celebrate? By being here. Make sure that when you are on Vibe Talk, okay, when you're on Vibe Talk, do yourself a favor. Answer those questions. Do yourself a favor. Give us some feedback. Do yourself a favor. Let us know how you're doing. You hear us say we want to hear your story. We want to hear your story. Because your story could indeed spare someone's life. Impact. We talk about that. Impact. Gut punch. Nothing is too bad. Nothing is so bad that I've never heard it before. We're not going to give you opinions. We're going to give you positive. We're going to give you inspiration. In fact, that's what Vibe Talk is based on. You'll see a lot of inspiration. I see you. And that's what we want. We want you to get inspired. We want you to talk about Vibe Talk at your dinner tables. So it's nothing that we're doing. We're not so great that we deserve all the time and attention. We're asking that your greatness, that you spread that in celebration with us. And you get to celebrate it wherever you live. Celebrate it with us. Because Vibe Talk has been introduced in your life. I will gather thank you letters for tomorrow. And I will read it throughout our month of celebration. And that's how we're going to celebrate. If there's something that you remember that you have, that you want to necessarily bring in and talk about. Some of you may celebrate very quietly, and that's okay too. I had a letter from someone who was in Vibe Talk for a full year and wrote me a very personal letter to say how much they appreciated Vibe Talk. The letter moved me to tears. Because everybody does not make themselves visible. They're listening through other capacities. And that's why we felt it was so important to do the podcast internationally, because you can do it that way too. Everybody doesn't want to be visible, and that's okay. But we know you're out there because you write back, or you say what you've learned, and you say how much it's helped you. I'm so grateful for that. So look for us. I want to say thank you. Thank you on this Motivational Monday for celebrating with us. We look forward to tomorrow and Transformation Tuesday. We'll talk about some other things. We'll bring up some things that we've learned. Maybe there's been an interchange of encouragement from you on the outside, not live on the air. But I want to say thank you. And here's to many more Vibe Talk celebrations. I'm going to turn it over to Trish's Treasures now. Trish?
I just want to say wow first of all, because it's amazing how far we come. Like, I remember, like, just yesterday, it wasn't yesterday, but it feels like it was yesterday, where I was trying to get the feel of Vibe Talk, you know? I come in some days and come back out, you know, getting the feel of it. Not sure. That's because I wasn't sure. I was like, am I ready for this move, or should I just stay to my usual normal, you know? And then I was getting consistent with myself, you know, to get well, you have to be consistent in your routine of bettering yourself. So I had to have that mindset of getting consistent in that. So I was getting consistent, and I remember this is literally our outro. I remember it was our New Year's Vibe Talk celebration podcast. That's where the outro came from. And ever since that happened, like, I felt a shift in me. I was like, you know, not because, oh, it's New Year's, I should do better, but because I knew, you know, if this was that powerful and I feel this way, I felt a shift, a change into things, then I like this feeling. Like, I want to keep going. Like, I know that there's more for me. I felt like there was more, so I was basically thirsty for more. Like, I wanted my cup to overflow. So that's what Vibe Talk has been for me. It has been an overflowing cup of knowing myself and getting to respect myself and loving myself more. It makes me very emotional because it didn't seem like that 3 years ago. It did not seem like it was gonna be this way. And it is. And I'm just like, if there is a better today, like, there has to be more. There has to be a greater tomorrow, you know? And I have to accept the better today and grasp that what's better now, to be able to take in the greater day, the greater next day, the greater tomorrow, the future. So I leave this to you, that when you start with yourself, when you start to question, is there more? There has to be more than this. There is more than that. There is greater. There is better. There is a brighter side for you. It's very possible, even though it doesn't seem possible now, but it's very possible, and you have to reach and grasp it. But to grasp, you have to reach, you have to grab for it. And once you do that, it feels so amazing. It feels like a blessing. It feels like the load, the heavy bricks that you're carrying on your shoulder has fallen off. And now you can sprint, you can run, you can do a high jump, you can move forward into the things that you want to do, that you feel like you're destined to do. So just keep that in mind, and I can't wait for many, many more years to come with Vibe Talk, because I feel like there is more. So I'm ready for the more. So yeah.
Love that. Those were truly gut-punching words. And I want to add to that, because this is Trisha's treasure. This is her corner. I want to thank her mom, because her mom is one of the people that listen on the outside. You may not always hear her, but to hear her be able to feed back, that's everything to us. Because her mom always has such beautiful things to say, and input is important, even if you didn't say the most beautiful thing, to hear back and to know that her mother understands what we're trying to do. And for me, that was a turning point in my life that happened what her mom said happened. Maybe it's been a month, but it was a turning point to hear her mother say, "Wow, you guys are reaching all these people that are in this state, in this country." To hear somebody say that and to know that it's all good and that what we are trying to do is something positive, that's everything. And that's the message. If I could tie that up in a bottle, what your mom said, Trish, that would be it. Because she couldn't have said that any better. So my thank you is to her and those of you who are like her that have felt it but never said it, or have asked in your mind, what is it that we're trying to do? Her mom said it best. Go ahead, Trish. I'm so sorry for interrupting.
And also I love what my mom said as well, reaching, cause like we're reaching people from my room and the living room, like we're reaching people with so much things that matter, with so much importance, and I'm just looking at the list of states and countries that I have, and I know there's many of more to come, it's like, wow, like we're on the map, like we on the globe, y'all. And
For real.
we are. It's amazing though, because listen, even though I'm scared to get on the plane, hey, I've been on the plane with Vibe Talk. I've seen.
Is that not so true?
It's so true, man. I've seen, like, and when y'all tell us about your countries and things like that, I'm just like, wow, it's amazing. And for example, like Bangladesh, like we had Bangladesh in here, and that photo that I saw, it was so beautiful. It was so magical. I have it saved. But it's like I was there, and just to talk to someone, you get to feel what they love about their country, and it's like you're there. They talk so magical about it. And Vibe Talk has we have reached so many states and countries and cities, and I just want to say that just like how we reach out to people this way, you can reach out in your inner soul for your wellness and for your happiness and for your brighter future. You can reach for that and to know yourself. It's know your inner globe. You have so much things inside of you that you haven't reached yet, so much potentials. It's there. Just because you haven't reached it doesn't mean that it's not there. You just have to believe that it's there and use it. So use your knowledge, get in touch with yourself. Yeah. Have some access within yourself, and it'll be very awakening to you, and it'll also be an understanding, because understanding yourself is very important, because it's like getting to know you, having to sit down with yourself. It's like your own mirror talk. And I'll get into that tomorrow, because that's a lot. That's like transformation. But yeah. So just this anniversary, we're talking about how Vibe Talk has impacted us. And I just hope that you listening to our experience and other people's experience, you get the feel of it's possible for you. So, yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much. And that's gonna be how it's gonna be. Celebrating it. If it's your first time, if it's your 10th time, we're going to be talking about the celebration of it. Why celebrate Life Talk? We're going to do it in a fashion, like Trish said, tomorrow is transformation. We're going to be celebrating celebrating the changes within us, because we've all had to go through it. And has it been messy? Yes. We get back up. We take breaks. Sometimes Trish and I, and Trish, if you're not feeling this way, please let me know. But I know that there are times when we just don't feel like being in Vibe Talk. Not a good day. It's not a good time. But every time we have been in Vibe Talk, on those days, something happens. Something happens. And we say, wow, what if we weren't there that day? How many times have you felt like that, Trish?
I have a lot.
Yes. Like, I really don't want to be here, but I committed myself, and then you get here, there's give or take times, like Trisha's hold down the fort for me when I was on vacation. I was sick, so I don't expect to leave her with the full load of trying to come in here and do a whole podcast, because that's got to be hard. So she does. She steps in, and we're going to be talking about that and how she got there. How did she get from where she was into the surrealness of now being a co-host? She did the work. She's doing the work. It's not a free-for-all that you can come in and say, I want to be co-host. She earned that. And she'll be talking about that during our celebration. I want you today to do an assignment. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate your time of awareness. When you became aware. Trish said something, and I want to leave you with this thought today. She talked about she said something in retrospect to her wellness. In order to start being well, she had to work on that. She had to be here. What part of yourselves are you willing to commit for you to be here, for you to have the same experience that her and I have already had? See, we don't take that for granted. I'm a host, and every day I'm working on welling myself. Every day. It's just not a one-time deal. It's, if I'm going to do this, Tricia, and I love the way you said that. If you're going to do this, you got to find out the feel of it. What does it take on your part? And it does require, a lot of people have come and gone from Vibe Talk because of one reason or another. But it's work. It's not just a good talking. It's not for entertainment purposes. If you're entertained, great. But it leaves you with a thought that I must motivate myself. I must do something. We're going to forego what we learned about ourselves because I think it's been in-depthly said. What we've learned about ourselves, what we've discovered. Trish said it so well. We want you to come back. We invite you again to come back tomorrow. Bring your friends. Bring a +1 when you come. Because maybe this is something that they need. Who knows? Celebrate us. Would you help us by saying happy anniversary, Vibe Talk, and to so many more. Thank you to my amazing co-host, Trish. Thank you for your amazingness. Thank you for your creativity. Thank you for you. And thank you to all of our guests, our audience, all of the people that support Vibe Talk by letting us know how they feel, by responding to our reels and our videos. Thank you. Thank you. Happy 2-year anniversary to Vibe Talk while you stay motivated. I wish you more motivation as you celebrate Vibe Talk. Have a good day, everybody. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. And for those of you who are listening to our Vibe Talk, we're going to ask you, please, to share your thought or two, or just say, happy anniversary. Have a good day, everybody. I wish you more celebration. Coming